Hey, so we are picking back up again in Psalm 23, verse 3. And we've been talking about He leads us in paths of righteousness, that He guides us in the path of blessing, that we go in the direction of, that we turn our eyes towards His way of doing and being right. And I love it all, but I love that that's included in the verse, that He refreshes and restores my life, myself, my soul. He has set me back in right standing with the Father and shows me which way to go. He doesn't just put me back in right standing and leave me for me to fend for myself and screw it up all over again, but that He puts me back in right standing, restores my life, refreshes my soul, gives me reconciliation, puts us back in right standing, all those things. And then He says, okay, we're starting over. Here's the way you need to go. And in that way we need to go, oh, my spirit is just sleeping inside. It is the blessing. It is the blessing. FCC ladies, for those of you that did the blessing with us, this is it. When He restored us and put us back in right standing with God the Father, Genesis 1 came all over again. And that God blessed mankind. And He said, be fruitful, multiply, have dominion and subdue it. That's in Genesis 1:26. Have complete authority over. He gave mankind the blessing as power to operate in. And it's in the same verse, going hand in hand, that He has restored us to right standing with the Father. And He has said, now I'm going to lead you in the way you should go. Isn't that's a good Father. That's a good shepherd. Now, we talked about going in the direction of, we've talked about He leading us, He guides us, turning our eyes towards, paying attention to. So this path, what is the path? In Hebrew, of course, I'm just giving you some definitions now, breaking this path word down. It's a track, an entrenchment, a course of action or life, a specific, good, and right. Those are all things to describe the path. The path. Now, I'm going to read this from the Passion Translation, and I'm going to give you a couple of footnotes from the Passion Translation, which is just really good and brings perspective. I love dealing with things that I can see, like picture words, because I get mental images and it just really makes sense and resonates with me. So the passage in the Passion Translation, Psalm 23:3, says, that's where He restores and revives my life. He opens before me pathways to God's pleasure and leads me along His footsteps of righteousness, so that I can bring honor to His name. Oh, that is good. He opens before me pathways to God's pleasure and leads me along His footsteps of righteousness, so that I can bring honor to His name. Opens before me pathways to God's pleasure. You know, it tells us, the Bible tells us in Psalm, I'll get the reference so that I can share it with you, but and we've been through it before, but the Lord takes pleasure, it's in Proverbs, pleasure in the prosperity of His servant. You and I, our success, it pleases the Father, and that is the blessing. Opens before me pathways to God's pleasure. Our prosperity pleases the Father. Prosperity, blessing, success, it is what gives the Father pleasure. He doesn't take pleasure in seeing His children suffer and in struggle and strife. What parent would enjoy watching their children struggle? He opens before me pathways to God's pleasure. That's good. The path to take, entrenchment, course of action, specific, good, and right. So now here's the note. In Psalm 23:3 it says, could be circular paths of righteousness. It says, it is a common trait for sheep on the hillside of Israel to circle their way up higher. They eventually form a path that keeps leading them higher. And this is what David is referring to here. Each step we take following our shepherd will lead us higher. Even though it may seem we're going in circles, we're really climbing up the mountain. Isn't that good? That he leads us in paths and good pleasure, taking us higher and higher. And we'll pick up here again tomorrow. I will see you then. Keep on climbing, right? Let's keep climbing.